All right, Coulter, this is part 2 of the Thanksgiving story. I had to run the kids to library quick. So you can get out your pipe cleaner out of your bag. I'm going to have all this stuff in the bag for you. So you can take this out and this out. And you're going to start with this. And what I had the kids do, I kind of had them make like a big J, just so the beads didn't fall off when we were putting them on. Okay, and then you'll just have your baggie of beads right here. And the first bead that you need to slide on is the black bead. Remember, the black bead was the Pilgrims left England. So you can just slide your black bead down like that. The Pilgrims left England. The next bead is going to be the white bead, because they sailed on a ship, because it's way on the other side of the ocean. And so they sailed on a ship called the Mayflower. So we put that on, slide it on down like that. Boom. So the Pilgrims left England. They sailed on the Mayflower. And it was a long trip over the ocean. So you're going to grab your 3 blue beads out. You're going to have 3 blue beads, and you're going to slide them on one at a time. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so there were 3 blue beads because it was a long trip over the ocean. The Pilgrims left England. They sailed on the Mayflower. Long trip over the ocean. Now they're going to spy land. They've been on the ocean a long time, and they finally get to spy land. And they were very happy to finally see land because it was a hard trip. So once they spied land, it wasn't very long before winter set in. So they had to hurry up and build some houses because it was a long, hard winter. But they didn't really have enough time to finish building all their houses, so not all the people survived that were on the Mayflower and came over. So it was a long, hard winter. Then after winter, spring came. So you can find your green bead. After winter, spring comes, and in the spring, there's new grass starts to grow and new buds start to grow on trees and things like that, and starts to warm up a little bit. So once spring came, they met some of the Native Americans that lived there. There were already people living over there, and where we are now in America. They were the Native Americans, and then the Pilgrims came over on a boat and they met them. So we're going to use this little tan bead because they hunted deer and different animals, and then they would wear them for clothing. And so they were going to use the tan color to help represent what they might have looked like from their clothing they wore to stay warm and protected from the sun. All right, so the tan bead is the Native Americans, and they met. Squanto was one of them. Okay, and Squanto and the Native Americans, they taught them how to hunt, how to fish, how to grow food. Okay, and they grew lots of food, and then in the fall season, they had a big feast. That's what we call Thanksgiving. And the Pilgrims and the Native Americans together had a big feast. And some of the things that we think they might have eaten were some of the things we still eat today, like berries, maybe like cranberries. So we're going to put the red bead. And then they might have had, I always forget the order of this one right here. And then they probably had like some kind of corn, vegetable. And then they had some meat, which a lot of us have turkey. Maybe they had turkey or deer or other birds that were around on the land at the time. And then they had some vegetables like pumpkin, squash, some of the different vegetables that are orange. Okay, so we're going to have all these on there like this, and that when you're going to have somebody go like this and spin these around, so when it's done, it's going to be kind of like this, kind of like a bracelet that you can even put on if you want to while you're retelling the story. Okay, and now once you're all done, then you can practice. And if you need that booklet to help you remember what some of them are, using the pictures in the book, you can have your book open and practice it too. So I'm going to go over it one more time if you want to go through it with me. I just told the kids to just slide like the bead just a little bit at a time. So the black bead is the Pilgrims left England. They sailed on a ship called the Mayflower. It was a long trip over the ocean. It was a hard trip. It took them a long time. And then they spied land, which is now America, part of where we are today. And then they didn't have a lot of time, and winter came, and it was a long, hard winter because they didn't have warm houses like we do. They only had a little bit of time to hurry up and build something, and they had to have fires and all that to keep warm. Then after the hard winter, then spring came, and then they could finish building some of their houses, and they met the Native Americans, the people who already lived there. And one of them's name was Squanto. And Squanto and the other Native Americans taught them how to hunt the land, how to fish, how to grow crops in the land, because the Pilgrims had never lived there before and the land was different, so they weren't quite sure how to do that. And once their food was all grown, in the fall, they harvested it and they had a big meal. That's kind of why we have Thanksgiving. They had a big meal, and the Pilgrims and the Native Americans ate together, and some of the things they might have eaten, they had a big feast, we call it. They might have had berries like cranberries, corn, other yellow vegetables, and turkey or birds or deer, some meat, and pumpkins and squash. So that is how you can use your beads to retell the first Thanksgiving. If you get it down and you want your mom or dad to video and send it to me, that would be fun too. So, all right, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you later. Bye.